Hello, everyone. This is a podcast about the WWE Draft that happened on Tuesday night SmackDown or Wednesday morning if you were here in the UK.
At the ridiculous o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't made any videos in a while because I've been very ill. But I'll probably do another video about that, addressing what happened.
I've not been doing much, mainly because I've been like a puddle of myself on the floor for the past week.
Well, just to like put it briefly, and then I'll go into more detail in like another video maybe. My laptop decided to not work. It decided to not even bother even exist. So I had to get it repaired, and then I've been very ill for the past 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks, and I've only been able to get out of the house for about 5 days out of those 3 weeks because of how ill I've been. So yeah.
And then you went one-on-one with Brock Lesnar, and that made you even iller.
Oh god, ill is not even a word. What are you on about? Anyway, this podcast is all about the WWE Draft that happened earlier the week, featuring me, BranDuck, and Nathaniel over there, who's also a big wrestling fan as well. And yeah, so let's get on to it then. So we had the WWE Draft, which they've been hyping up for months.
Yeah.
I mean, months.
They hyped it more than the $9.99 for the WWE Network.
Oh yeah, they don't push that a lot, but to be honest, the network is pretty good value. But
yeah.
I just wish they had Raw and SmackDown on there, and if they got to bump up the price to do that, then so be it. Anyway, yeah, they've been hyping it up for a while now, and then along comes the draft on SmackDown, and I felt a bit underwhelmed.
Yeah,
well, not underwhelmed, but like I wasn't overall impressed by it.
I thought it started off really well. Like the first 5 definitely, maybe the next 5 were good, and then it sort of faltered a bit from there.
Yeah, it's just like they took all the big names right at the beginning and then waned off gradually. You had a few like that go, oh, you're easy. I was like, no, and like Cesaro and all them, but it did kind of wane off. And one thing I didn't like was the fact that they only did half of the draft
on SmackDown,
and then the other half was on the Draft Center live on the network, which I thought was a really, really bad way of doing it, especially for the people who don't own the network and just watch Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, well, who goes on what then? Because then they'll have to catch up on the internet the day after, because if they don't have the network. And I mean, for the people of the network, they'd be all right. But I think that the entire draft should have been on SmackDown.
Even if they had to make it 3 hours long,
and make SmackDown 3 hours long just for that the draft.
One night.
And cut down on the number of matches, because there's some matches between you about, like the Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins one, which we didn't get.
But some of the matches were just sort of, they weren't really matches. They were just sort of a way to make people realise, oh yeah, they're fighting at Battleground on Sunday.
Was that Chris Jericho match was very good.
Yeah, the Jericho match was very good. But then they had the whole Natalya Becky Lynch thing. Now, it's a decent storyline so far, but it's just like,
just get on with the draft.
Yeah, get on with the draft. Was there really any need to waste 5 minutes on that little bit? They could have just spoke about it. That would have been enough. Just get on with the draft and have a slightly chucked an extra minute or 2 on the Jericho match.
Yeah, it's a bit with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens when they were like fighting on the ramp, and then Kane's there just like, what do I do?
Choke slams them both.
I'll admit that bit was funny though, because Kane's just standing there.
It was funny, but was it really needed.
Nah, I mean they don't need comic relief. I mean they got Shane there. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, it's like when the very first pick. Right, should we get onto the picks? Because the funny moment comes on with the very first pick. So we're gonna go through it pick by pick.
Yeah. So the first pick was Seth Rollins.
Now, most notable part for me was when Shane afterwards went, so you've got CrossFit Jesus. Cool. I'm just so glad they actually acknowledged what the internet wrestling community call people.
Seth Rollins CrossFit Jesus. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's like people call him CrossFit Jesus, and they actually acknowledge that fact.
Yeah, he was number one pick. I mean, for Raw, I could see that happening, to be honest, because
Yeah, it's Steph.
with Steph and like Triple H. I mean, I know Triple H isn't in charge of Raw, but I know those two are pretty high on like making Seth being
the person.
Yeah, being the guy. You know, being the not Roman because he is the guy, but you know what I mean.
Seth will be the guy.
Seth will be the guy. Then the second pick was obviously Dean Ambrose, and he went on to SmackDown.
Yep.
Which I thought would more than likely happen, but then that'd make me think that Dean's going to lose the championship at Battleground.
Yeah, because they're most likely going to have the heavyweight title on Raw.
But then that'd mean there's only one belt on SmackDown after.
Yeah.
Which doesn't... I don't know. I think SmackDown will probably be like a better bolster for the newer talent.
Yeah.
But anyway, then the third pick, which I thought they would have left this till like in the middle, just like so, you know, it's all died down and all of a sudden, hey, but our third pick was Finn Balor.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So with him being so high up on the list, it's making me think they're going to give him a very big push.
Yeah.
And Dave announced that the Cruiserweight belt is going to be making a
triumphant return.
And you know the Cruiserweight Classic is freaking amazing. It is fantastic. So I mean, like I can understand why they brought it back because I mean the popularity of the Cruiserweight Classic is pretty evident. So I don't know if Finn will go for that or if he'll go for the United States, which Rusev has at the moment.
I would like to see him go for the Cruiserweight because he seems to be that like small, agile person.
Or they could give him. I don't think they'll do it like right now because I mean he's only just been put up there. But I think they might like eventually down the line, say next year, maybe just before WrestleMania or after WrestleMania, they'll give him a shot at the heavyweight.
Yeah, not straight away obviously because he's just like got there.
Yeah. Fourth pick was the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. Yeah, I like AJ Styles, like a lot of other people do, because he's very good in ring. He's very good in ring. He's good in ring. He's good on the mic, and you know he's always been a pleasure to watch, even in his TNA days.
Yeah.
Then the third pick for Raw was, and I assumed this was going to happen because I think it was like announced beforehand, before the draft, the Women's Championship was going to stay on Raw.
Yeah, so obviously Charlotte.
So Charlotte, who would be in the fifth pick, stayed on Raw. Well, she didn't stay on Raw, got drafted to Raw, stayed on Raw. She mainly appeared on Raw rather than SmackDown anyway. But then the sixth pick was John Cena, which makes sense considering AJ and John Cena have got that rivalry going at the moment. But I think...
Is it this once-in-a-lifetime dream match that we've now seen 4 times?
Yeah, but will it get the clean finish now?
Yeah, at last.
Then a pick that actually surprised me because of their history given between the Authority and this person, Roman Reigns, who's currently out on suspension but is now not on suspension now. He's actually preparing himself ready for Battleground.
He's at a live event, I think, Saturday night. I think it's either Friday. It's either tonight or tomorrow night he's at a live event, and then there'll be a battleground. But as a note we were saying before, I've only just thought about this after saying it the last time. With Dean being on SmackDown, the title going to Raw, it could be Seth or Roman that wins.
Which is making me think we'll see a massive like a double turn. Like so, Seth will go babyface and Roman will go heel.
Yeah.
Which would be good because that's what Roman needs. Roman needs to go heel.
Yes.
I mean, look at The Rock. The Rock didn't work as a babyface.
No.
And then they made him heel, and now he's arguably one of the biggest success stories that the WWE's ever produced. I mean, isn't he like now one of the most highest paid actors in Hollywood, or the most highest paid next to next to Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah, I think he has now just. I think he's in the past couple. I think since his last film, he's just overtaken Robert Downey Jr. I'm sure I read somewhere that he's now the highest.
I mean, and that's a guy who was in WWE before.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it is a tremendous success story. Then SmackDown decided to pick Randy Orton, which I thought they wouldn't leave him too far down the line, considering his return is imminent.
Yeah. Snap up the guy that's coming back.
Yeah.
So we never know, because it's at SummerSlam they're having the Randy Orton Brock Lesnar match.
Well, I don't know how they're gonna work him into an angle, because like the heavyweight, like the WWE Championship seems to be going like towards like the Shield like thing. And I think that round is going to continue even after Battleground.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it'll be just between Seth and Roman if it goes on Raw, because of obvious reasons, because they've been drafted now.
Yeah.
But you know, somebody like Randy, who's a heavyweight wrestler, he will be wanting that belt. So,
with him being on SmackDown, he kind of can't.
Yeah.
Unless it's one of those where, say, at the Big Four, a SmackDown person, i.e. Randy Orton, can contend for Raw's heavyweight title.
Yeah. I don't know how they're going to work him, but I want to hope that they don't just go, oh, here's some pointless matches. I don't know if they'll make him Intercontinental though. Hang on though, because like we'll get onto it like later on during the live, but there could be a chance that SmackDown doesn't even get a belt.
Yeah.
Which, looking at it, it's I mean it could happen, but here we go. The next pick was Brock Lesnar, which I figured as much Raw was going to get, because I mean SmackDown seems to be that one where they're going to try and like bolster up all the new talent, that, you know, prepare them and then ready to draft them over to Raw or whatever. Or give them the push and the chance that they couldn't get beforehand. I think that's what SmackDown will be. And then after that, it was Bray Wyatt. Now they said they weren't splitting them up per se, but they were going to draft them individually, which made everybody think that they're all going to go on one show, but they're all just going to be drafted individually.
Yeah.
But obviously that didn't last, as we'll get to it like later on. But I do hope Bray Wyatt gets a push, because he's one of my favourite wrestlers in the thing. I just hope he gets a real big push. Next one was The New Day, which with them being the champions, obviously they were going to be higher up on the list. They're fighting the Wyatts, aren't they? The Battleground.
The New Day?
Yeah.
I think so.
Isn't it for the
tag team titles?
Yeah.
Which is a bit strange, because
they've,
unless something gets changed along the way.
Yeah.
And let's say beforehand, the club attack the Wyatts, lay the Wyatts out, and come down instead of the Wyatts.
Well, I mean, like,
And when I mean the club, I mean Anderson and Gallows, because obviously Styles is on SmackDown and they're on Raw, which we'll get onto after.
After that, it was a surprise pick from SmackDown, because I didn't think they'd pick this person quite so high up, but I quite like this wrestler, and that's Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
She's very good in ring, she just has not been given, again, that push. And she is quite loved by the fans. She's quite popular among the fans.
Yeah.
After Becky was Sami Zayn, which he's one of my favourites.
Oh yeah, I love Sami Zayn.
And let's be honest, like, he did have one of the best matches of the year with Nakamura early in the year on NXT.
Like, when I went to go see NXT in Blackpool last December, it was when Sami Zayn was making his return. It's like he was making his return at the live events, but he hadn't been back on television yet.
Yeah.
It's when if you remember, when they had that like 25 minutes where they couldn't progress in the match because everyone was chanting for the American Alpha.
Yeah.
And they delayed the match by 25 minutes because everyone was just chanting.
So you don't get a crow like a British crow.
No. And that's why I think they love coming over here, and they come over as much as they do.
Yeah.
Not saying that other crowds are worse than this,
we're extremely vocal.
Yes.
And we will get our voices heard. We will.
Whether it's good or bad.
And usually in football it tends to be pretty bad, I mean, especially if you looked at the Euros. But before we start anything on that, the next pick was The Miz for SmackDown.
He definitely came to play.
Please don't.
Yeah, but he was also drafted alongside
Maurice,
yeah.
I mean, I like The Miz. He definitely has come along.
He's come on a lot.
Yeah, he's come on a
I
lot
like him
along.
a lot more than what I used to.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, his gimmick is getting a little bit annoying now, but I mean, like, if you compare him to how he was like years ago when he first came into WWE,
Yeah.
didn't he work on MTV or something like that?
He did. Well, at one point, I think.
And then he became the WWE champion. Then he had belt after belt, and it's pretty good how, like,
can we just
he's
talk
managed to
about The Miz's highlight of his career though?
No, Miz now.
Being able to work with the Lord and Savior Damien Sandow.
Yeah, my mate's going to see him in London.
I know.
The next pick was Sasha Banks, which makes sense because she's going against Charlotte and Dana Brooke along with a mystery partner for
which
Sasha.
Is vacant.
Vacant.
That's who it's going to be.
Vacant. Oh, the best wrestler in the world.
Held every single title in existence across multiple brands.
Best wrestler. Best wrestler.
Best wrestler. Held the WWE title, heavyweight title, United States title, both tag team titles on his own at the same time.
Oh
yeah. He held the old Divas title, the old women's title, he hasn't held the new women's title yet because that's not been vacated. It's the only one he's not held.
Oh, come on, Vacant, you're letting yourself down.
Oh God, Vacant's letting himself down. I thought he held everything. That's the one thing. But he's held titles across TNA, New Pro, Japan, everything. He's been in CZW, FCW, everything you can think of. He's been there. He's been in Lucha Underground. He's been in whatever promotion you can think of. My mind just went blank then.
The next pick is a guy I particularly like. He needs a push. This guy needs a push, and it's Baron Corbin.
Yes, Baron Corbin really needs a push. I was very excited for him to come up to the main roster and win the Andre the Giant Memorial match.
he's like he could be a force to be
Future
reckoned
world
with.
champion.
Yeah, and they just need to give him that push. I think isn't Vince quite high on Baron Corbin as well?
Yes.
So because he is quite a tall guy, he's like nearly 7 foot, isn't he?
And you can't teach that.
Funnily enough, that's not next, but it's soon. The next one was one of the best wrestlers, in my opinion, of all time, Chris Jericho. You know, drink it in, man.
Yeah, the Ayatollah of rock and roll.
And just, I want to see, I know he is getting on now, let's not be around the bush, but I hope he has one more run with the WWE belt. And then goes, yeah, that's it for me. Because, I mean, I know he's got his band as well at the same time. Next up is your tag team from NXT. The American Alpha.
Yes! Ready, willing, and Gable.
I actually quite like these. They're a very good tag team. They're very old school. Which is like part of their charm, I think.
Yeah. So the American Alpha was what caused that match to be delayed for so long in Blackpool.
After the American Alpha was Rusev and Lana for Raw.
Yep.
I like Rusev. He has definitely come on a lot since he first started.
I like the way now they're referring to him as Bulgarian and not Russian.
Yeah.
Because that whole Russian gimmick was doing my head in. It's like, he's not Russian, he's Bulgarian.
Yeah.
And the whole Russian flag coming down, and when they had the big show pull it down, and everyone got, oh no, he pulled the flag down, it's disrespecting the flag, which, fair enough.
It is to a point.
I understand disrespecting the flag. That's fair enough. But then when they had the Rusev to try and pull down the American flag, and then he kicking up that actor dressed as a soldier, that was the end of the line for that one. That was it. I was like, that. Just take him off the show for 2 weeks, give him something else, and bring him back.
Yeah, there's a double standard, yeah.
Exactly.
But
nobody kicked a fuss up when they did the whole Rusev trying to pull the American flag down. Then this person dressed as a soldier jumping in the ring and getting super kicked by Rusev. No one went, oh no, he kicked an American veteran. No one kicked a fuss up about that, or no one went, oh no.
Yeah, well, state of the world is this today, my friend. The next one is a guy who I just wanted to get another shot at the big time. He's just been a jobber for the past year and a half.
Zack Ryder.
No, Dolph.
Oh, Dolph Ziggler. One of my personal favourites.
I want. He could be the modern day Shawn Michaels, but they just aren't gonna give him that goddamn push.
Gone on to Raw, hasn't he?
Nah, SmackDown.
Oh damn it! If he was on Raw, he could tag team with Finn Balor, and we could have Team Dolphin.
Fucking hell, that's terrible. Oh, fuck you. Next up is another one of my favourites who's like, I'd say he's the best heel in WWE right now, and that's Kevin Owens.
Yes.
You know, he's one of my favourite wrestlers in WWE, but I mean, next to Jericho, I don't know if he's been taking lessons from Jericho.
Yeah.
But I mean, the heel is strong with Kevin Owens. Next up for SmackDown is Natalya.
Yay!
I know you're not that big on Natalya.
But all we know is she's got a lot of heart for a little person.
But I do like Natalya. It's just she hasn't been given that push as well.
No, she needs that push. And I think that's why I'm not overly fond of her, is because she's not been shown in much light.
And I
In
think,
fairness, she had this little heel turn with Becky Lynch.
yeah, and I think the reason why that people are not liking Charlotte as much now is because every time she's won the belt, it's either due to her father or somebody interfering.
Yeah, she's not won it legitimate. Like, the very first time she won it was legit. But after then, it's sort of like... okay.
Enzo and Cass was next for Raw.
The realest guys in the room. How you doing?
I like Enzo and Cass. They're a very entertaining bunch.
I was just so happy they didn't split them up.
Who are they? Because they had a third counterpart, didn't they, in NXT?
Carmella.
Yeah, now Carmella's on SmackDown.
Yeah.
But oh well.
To be honest though, she was she at first was just sort of like, do you know like what Bob Backlund is to
Darren Young.
Darren Young? Obviously not in the training wise, but sort of just there as moral support.
Yeah.
And then she went on to doing singles wrestling.
Yeah.
Sort of like that.
Next up was Alberto Del Rio.
No, you didn't say it properly.
I'm not even going to bother because my throat is killing because of my illness. But yes, Alberto Del Rio is on SmackDown, and I think he deserves a push as well. But the thing is, a lot of these wrestlers deserve a push. It's just you can't give them all a push at the same time. But
some will get sidelined, which means they'll be...
Did you see Alberto Del Rio in Lucha Underground?
I saw a little bit of him.
I'll just say, I know Lucha Underground, they go a bit more on the impact.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I mean, he can hit. He can hit. I'll give Alberto Del Rio that he can hit. Mm-hmm. Especially what he did to Johnny Mundo. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Anyway, after Alberto Del Rio was The Club, who are supposed to be this big force who are like going to overtake the WWE, which they said they would in the promos, but since they've been together, formed with AJ and all that, they've done nothing.
But now that they're on Raw and AJ's on SmackDown,
they can take over both shows in their own way.
They can sort of.
But another thing for the club is Finn is now on Raw.
Exactly.
And for anybody who knows that the whole Bullet Club thing in NJPW, Finn was one of the founding members of it.
Yeah.
So, I do hope that they will have some angle with Finn, but not put him off the push that he will get.
Yeah.
Next up is the Usos.
Yeah.
And yeah, they did a promo on the draft center live, talking about Roman, saying he's ready, willing, go, and he's like a raging beast. Roman is at the moment. So I don't know. He sounded very heel.
Yeah.
Well, when they were talking about Roman, it sounded that they're talking about him in a very heel way. I mean, I don't know if that's a hint.
They're all gonna come together as one big evil family. One big evil Samoan family.
I mean,
together, the Usos, Roman Reigns, The Rock, Rikishi, all one big angry mafia Samoan family.
Look, I'll be happy just to see Rikishi again.
Just Rikishi for World Heavyweight Champion.
As long as he can do the dance.
Yeah. Here we go. Ultimate scenario: Roman Reigns wins the World Heavyweight title. Out comes Rikishi, says something along the family lines like, "I don't agree with how you're doing this. This is not how the family would want it." Knocks Roman down, just delivers the stink face to him.
Or gives him a pair of shades and Roman actually does the dance. That'd be funny to watch. It'd be very awkward to watch as well.
like when Stone Cold started to dance with the New Day at WrestleMania.
Yeah, it'd be very awkward to watch, and then
It was sort of one of those things. You sort of saw Shawn and Mick Foley getting into it, and you're like, oh, please don't. Stone Cold, please, no, don't. And he's there starting to go, and you're like, no, please, don't. And then he just delivered the stunner to Xavier Woods, and it was like, thank you.
Next up is Big Show, who was drafted to Raw.
Then drafted to SmackDown, then drafted to Raw, then drafted back to SmackDown.
I
in
like
one of
Big
the
Show.
biggest heel turns, face turns of the century.
I like Big Show though.
I do like Big Show, but still. Heel, face, Raw, SmackDown.
But yeah, he's on Raw, and you know he said multiple times he's willing to put over new talent because that's what the company needs. So I mean, props to him for that.
Yeah.
Then Kane or SmackDown, which I mean it's pretty self-explanatory, but I think like the Undertaker, I think he's retiring this year. I think he says for definite he is retiring this year. Or something like that. I think Kane's probably got another year or two left as well. I don't think Kane's got long left. I mean, the whole corporate Kane thing failed miserably. I don't think that was a bad move.
I like some little bits of corporate Kane, but on a whole, it has been a bit meh.
Next up was a somewhat controversial decision with the crowd and some of the wrestling fans because they thought the wrong person to be brought up, and that was Nia Jax.
Yes.
Now, she hasn't actually held the NXT Women's belt, has she?
No, and if you saw on Twitter, there was like a little exchange between her and Bayley, where because they got a match at the I'm sure they've got a match at the next NXT Takeover or sometime soon on NXT. In which like Nia Jax is like, no, Bayley was like, see ya, in a nice manner, and Nia Jax is like, yeah, you can find me on Raw. And Bayley was like, well, you can see me on NXT getting the women's title for the second time, which is something you couldn't even do once.
Burn, savage.
And I'm like, ooh.
Now, one of the... Like,
I think Bayley's been taking insult lessons from Enzo Amore.
Yeah, I think the fight, though, I think the fight between... Because I think I haven't watched NXT yet, this week's NXT, but I think that fight between Bayley and Nia Jax was on that one because I did see a highlight on Facebook about it. So, after Nia Jax was,
I was just saying, just back onto that match. I can guess who won it already. It would have been Bayley since Nia Jax is going up.
Yeah, after Nia Jax, well, after Kane, Nia Jax, it was Kalisto for SmackDown.
Kalisto, yeah.
And then for Raw, we'll have the next three, which was Neville. Thank God, I love Neville.
I'm so glad he's coming. So glad he's coming back.
I mean, I know the style of wrestling that he does is very, very injury prone. Like you could easily injure yourself doing the style of wrestling he does.
I think you could easily misland and break your neck.
Yeah.
Gone.
And you know, it's great that he's back now, especially after that injury he had. Next up is Cesaro, which I thought he would have been higher up on the list, to be honest.
Yeah.
But regardless, the promo that he cut was fantastic. But I just hope he gets that big push because Cesaro needs that push. But then again, you'll have that problem which we talked about earlier. You can't give everyone a push.
Too many people to push and not enough pushing space.
I mean, like, yes, if he doesn't get the heavyweight championship, I mean, at least give him the US belt.
Yeah.
Give him some gold.
A belt. Didn't he hold the Intercontinental title at one point?
It was one of them.
Yeah, he held one of them.
Of the US or the Intercontinental. After Cesaro, it was Sheamus.
You look stupid.
I like Sheamus.
I like the style of wrestling, but I just think he looks absolutely ridiculous. And say he looks like a cockerel that's gonna wake people up in the morning. It's like I can imagine like just lying in bed next to me and cockle-doodle-doo, fella.
I mean, like, he's another one that's turned almost into jobber territory now, isn't he?
Yeah, and don't even start on the League of Nations stuff.
Like, he was the heavyweight. He was like the WWE champion.
It was the Money in the Bank winner.
He's the WWE.
Last year.
Yeah, he was the WWE champion before Christmas, and now he's not. Like, and now he's become effectively a jobber.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I just hope he does get another push, but again, the same problem. Next up is for Raw, the Golden Truth. I love that tag team.
It is the wackiest.
I just want them to win the
tag team
titles once, just because you know how the crowd will get behind them.
It's like when Zack Ryder won the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania.
Oh, the crowd went mad.
The crowd, like, literally, I turned to my mate and went, "You should put a bet on Zack Ryder winning." And he was like, "Zack Ryder won't win." So one of my mates took the leaf out of my book and put a £10 bet on Zack Ryder to win. Guess who won?
Zack Ryder.
Zack Ryder.
Next up for Raw is Titus O'Neil. He's another one that's, oh God, he is a big guy. I mean, but he's another one that he's pretty good in the ring. He just needs that push. But again, they've got so much talent on there, and they all deserve a push. It's just that they're giving a lot of attention to some rather than the others, and then they're giving all the attention to some, like, Roman. Now, I mean, as much as I love the Shield trio, it's like the attention is pretty much focused on them, and it's just those push them, and it just seems though. I mean, you got those people who are fighting for the Intercontinental in the United States, but it just seems like there's so much talent that can get those belts, but they're just not giving it. So it's like Rusev's held on to it for a while now, the US belt.
Yeah.
And Titus could have easily had that. It would have been I mean, it could have been a short one, could have been a long run, but just giving the belt. I mean, I think what these wrestlers need in order to stay more relevant is to, even if it's just a short run, to just hold the belt.
Yeah.
And I like Titus. I like his whole gimmick with the the dog. Woo. I do like Titus. It's just then he got suspended.
I was going to say, don't touch your general managers or your commissioner, you might get another 30 days.
Next up for Raw was Paige, which, I mean, surprised me a little bit, but I think that was the best choice because she has fallen off the grid for the women's division, and she does need that championship. Like she's seen as this almost like anti-diva figure, isn't she?
Yeah.
But she's not been given that push at the moment. I mean, she held on to Divas Championship, which, I mean, let's be honest, the Divas belt was a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
Next up for Raw was Darren Young.
Yeah.
Now, I know a lot of people aren't getting behind the whole Darren Young and, Bob Backlund thing, but every time he's won, regardless of, people's, opinion on this, some wrestling fans, you hear the crowd every time he wins.
Yeah.
It's not like I know they've been known to do it where they filter in, cheers and boos and that, after the post.
Yeah.
But when Darren Young wins, you can tell that's real. That's a real cheer from the crowd.
Yeah.
And and they're all getting up on their feet, and they're all like, clapping, and it's just, I think that they are getting behind Darren Young. It's just, I think it's divisive. I think the whole thing is divisive with the whole Darren Young thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it, but I mean, I think they'll just give him one run, give him a short run, and then it'll go to whoever else.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't win, then that'll mean the whole Bob Backlund thing didn't work. And then what was the whole point of all those promos throughout, the past few months? Then on SmackDown we got Naomi.
Yeah.
She's very good. She's a very good wrestler. But will she be one of those who will eventually get the women's champion? I think she will.
Possibly, but there's obviously you've got the likes of Nia Jax coming up. She'll want to go for it. You've got Sasha Banks, who everybody wants to hold it.
And you got Becky Lynch as well.
Becky Lynch, who again people want her to hold it.
Also, for Raw we have Sin Cara. So Kalisto's on SmackDown, Sin Cara's on Raw, but they announced before the draft that they were parting ways in terms of no more Lucha Dragons.
I wonder if he botched his entrance onto Raw. Do you know what would have been hilarious though? Is when Steph announced him for Raw that she botched it.
I want to say though, what was it? Kalisto that did a promo. Oh my god! It started off well and then it went down. It went right down. Like it couldn't have gone any worse for him. I feel sorry for Kalisto because it was just like it started off as a really good promo and then it just
died.
It just nosedived. After Sin Cara for Raw, we got Jack Swagger, another guy who's held a WWE belt and has not been able to get that belt back after losing it.
No.
Which is a shame because he's got the talent.
Yeah.
But he's just
not the big old we the people.
Yeah, and then obviously they had Zeb Coulter doing the we the people.
Oh yeah, I was showing my mate my mate some of the old stuff, and he was just so confused about to go. And he's an American person who's feuding with a Mexican, but they're also friends with each other. Then my mate does not get wrestling at all.
Yeah, it's like WWE creative and exactly brilliant. I mean, you've only got look how they keep pushing wrestlers that clearly the crowd don't want.
Yeah.
Next up is the Ascension, which is a tag team which has been out of commission for a little while now.
Yeah.
Due to various reasons, but they've been out of commission. Next up on Raw is the Dudley Boys, a legendary tag team. If you haven't heard of the Dudley Boys, bloody hell, what have you been doing? Like, if you're into wrestling and you've not heard of the Dudley Boys, go back and watch some of their stuff.
And I'd say, if you're into wrestling and don't know the Dudley Boys, right? Even if you were only into things like TNA, you'd have heard of the Dudley Boys. Or if you're only into your Japanese wrestling, you'd have still heard of the Dudley Boys. Because my mate in Japan has heard of the Dudley Boys, and he doesn't watch WWE.
So the Dudley Boys are a veteran tag team, and they need to hold the belt. But it's almost they've become the laughingstock of the tag team division. And it's a shame because they got huge talent and they can still work very well.
Yeah.
It's just they almost seem like tag team jobbers.
Pretty much.
And it's a shame. And I just let them win the belt. Let them have their run with
the one last run.
Yeah, before, because let's put it this way. They are getting on. Not as much as say some wrestlers like The Undertaker, but you're getting on, and eventually there will come a time and they'll need to retire, and they need that run of gold because since they've come back, they've not had that run of gold yet.
No.
Next up, it's Mr. Woo Woo, and it's Zack Ryder for SmackDown.
Woo, woo, woo. You know it.
I like Zack Ryder.
I love Zack Ryder.
It's just he's one. I know we've got the problem of like people going, too many people, but he is one that does need a push.
Zack Ryder for World Heavyweight Champion 2017.
I wouldn't say World Heavyweight, but I mean, like
maybe like an or maybe a US title run because he's held the Intercontinental. Give him a US title.
Yeah, because he's against Rusev, isn't he? At Battleground.
I think so. That'd be good for him. But that's the problem though. No matter how much I love Zack Ryder, I couldn't see him winning that match. Just obviously going on face value.
Yeah.
If you just look at the two people and go, nah.
I mean, like, one of the best examples of defying the odds is Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio, Big Show. Because I can remember, in like most of the recent WWE games, there's been an unlockable, like, trophy/achievement for beating the Big Show as Rey Mysterio on one of the higher difficulties.
I do like Zack Ryder though. Another wrestler for Raw, Summer Rae. Wasn't she the one with Fandango?
Yes, when they did the whole Summer Rae Fandango Layla love triangle thing.
No.
And then she went off with Dolph Ziggler for a bit.
No.
And then wasn't she with Rusev as well? And then Lana was with Dolph Ziggler. And then the whole thing about Rusev and Lana came out, and then they had to pair Lana and Rusev back together, and then Summer Rae just sort of floated into the mist of the ether.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've only seen her wrestle 3 times solo. I'd say 3-4 times.
I've seen her a few times.
I mean, it's not one of them that comes on every week, is she?
No.
But maybe they'll give her a push, maybe they won't. But next up is Apollo Crews. Now I like this guy.
Oh, I love Apollo Crews.
I mean, he's a pretty built guy. I mean, he's got muscles, but bloody hell, can he move? He's got the speed of Rey Mysterio, yet he's built like I don't know.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he's built like Brock Lesnar or Ryback. He's got muscle on him. He's got a fair bit of muscle on him, but he can.
Could you imagine Ryback trying to do the whole standing?
No, but he can run. He can jump out that ring. Like, dude, he's very good. And for a guy he's quite built. You'd expect him to be a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Left. And whilst he is a powerhouse, he can do all the high flying as well, which
is very unusual.
And I like he's a jack of all trades, and he's another one that shouldn't be put on the back burner. He does need our push. Apollo Crews does need our push because he is very, very talented. Then we got Mark Henry for Raw, and here's another one I think's probably going to retire by the end of the year.
He's already said he's going.
And that's what he say, retire by the end of the year.
Yeah, well, he said he's going soon.
That's probably then.
I think he'll be gone definitely either the end of the year
or by WrestleMania.
Because I'm pretty sure at WrestleMania he said that was his last Mania.
Yeah, I mean it's a shame because some of the stuff he's been in, like the whole oh god, some of the stuff in the Attitude Era. Oh my god, with Mae Young. Oh my god.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Oh my god, that was so funny. And then he was tagged up with, was it D'Lo Brown?
Yeah.
Oh, just like some of the stuff that Mark Henry's been in, like some of the skits he's been in have been so good. And then he had the run with the WWE belt, and he's pretty dominant with it. And I don't think they'll probably give him another run with the belt, but I think they just need to make him a little bit more dominant, so they could just make him out as he's like this big walking powerhouse before he goes. Maybe give him a shot at. I mean, because he is known as the one of the world's strongest man.
Yeah.
So perhaps give him the US belt, just as like one last trophy run before he retires. Next up is another NXT upbringing, and that's Alexa Bliss.
Yes.
Now, I thought she would have been because I mean all the ones that we've been mentioning now for the past like 5-10 minutes or so were done on the Draft Center Live, which was on the network only, which was a weird decision why they decided to do that. I don't know. But anyway, Alexa Bliss.
And like with them saying they were doing 6 NXT picks, I thought they would have at least
done the NXT picks on SmackDown.
Live, yeah.
Yeah. Alexa Bliss is on SmackDown, and they've got a very good selection of like new women's talent on SmackDown.
Yeah.
I mean, not all the women's talent on Raw is fully established. I mean, Nia Jax is one of the new people coming up, and and then you got people like Alicia Fox who can work pretty good in the ring, but she's not established as like say Charlotte or
is popular.
Charlotte or Sasha Banks,
Like, let's all get on the Eva Marie bandwagon.
No, we'll talk about that in a bit. Next up for Raw, which surprised a few people when it got announced, was Braun Strowman.
Yep.
Which is making people think that he is now going to get a huge monster
Singles push.
Now, he could be like this generation's Undertaker if booked right. Obviously not with the same gimmick, obviously, because no one can do that gimmick.
Plus, nowadays, I don't think that gimmick would fit in. Like, when they had the whole Buried Alive match, that wouldn't fit in with, like, sort of the PG era WWE stuff.
Yeah. I have noticed that they've been kind of removing themselves from the strict PG era as of late. They've been
sort of been
more
lenient.
They've been more PG-13.
Yeah.
Rather than PG. So it's been more like the whole. I know it's reminiscent of the final deletion that they had on TNA, but the whole thing between New Day and the Wyatts.
Yeah.
I mean, I hadn't seen anything like that on WWE for a long time, and that surprised me a lot. Albeit that the final deletion for me was a lot better.
Yeah.
A lot weirder, but
that was like a fully fledged thing, whereas the thing between the New Day and the Wyatt family was sort of supposed to be like just a little thing. It wasn't supposed to be like an actual. It's a part of the storyline, but it wasn't supposed to be like the final deletion was like the end of the story, sort of thing.
As long as both Hardy Boys are in a wrestling promotion together, that will never be the end of the Hardy Boy rival. Because if there's one thing that will carry on, even when they're dead and we are dead, it will be the Hardy Boy rivalry. Because for some reason, even in any promotion they go to, that rivalry continues to go on.
And the reason is because that's what brings in money.
Yeah, I mean the Hardy Boys are great, and I think that's probably the only thing that's keeping that TNA afloat, to be honest. But
yeah.
But anyway, I mean I know they've got talent on there. It's just that TNA isn't exactly swimming with money at the moment. Next up for SmackDown is the other half of the wacky combo for tag teams, and that's Breezango.
Oh boy.
Now, wasn't Tyler Breeze like NXT champion once?
I don't think he held the. He did get a title shot, but I don't think he won it.
I don't say, because I was quite late onto the NXT bandwagon.
I don't think he actually. I think it was close. I think he had a title match, but I don't think he actually won it.
Because I only started watching it around about October last year.
I started watching NXT. I'd seen little bits when it first started.
Then obviously when you went Blackpool.
Yeah, also I've seen it, but when NXT first started, but I first started properly watching it. It was after Seth Rollins had won, and he was on the main roster. Like Neville was champion, was when I first started watching it.
Yeah.
At some point during Neville's run, because not long after that was Sami Zayn.
Who else is here? Who else has got to Breezango? Bo Dallas, which I mean they split up the social outcasts.
Yay, believe that.
Next up is right now. I know people were. This one wasn't very popular with fans and the internet, but regardless, Eva Marie went to SmackDown. Now, I will quickly move over because I know there are some strong opinions out there about that because she's not very popular amongst the wrestling crowd.
Yeah.
Albeit, the reason why she's not very popular is because she's still quite green to it. She's not.
Yeah,
She's not
very green.
She's not been trained enough yet, and the fact that she's on SmackDown, and I don't know if she'll probably get a huge push, but I don't know. But I mean, who knows? Because we haven't seen Eva Marie for ages.
Yeah. Do you know why? Because she was on NXT.
Yeah, but I mean,
even there, you haven't seen her. So technically, for Eva Marie, this was actually a second call-up.
But has she been trading? Because we haven't seen her for ages.
Apparently so.
So maybe when she comes back, the crowd can get like right behind her and just like go, oh, she's very good. She's very good.
I very much doubt it, to be honest. So.
But I mean, we'll find out on SmackDown. Maybe not this week's SmackDown, but one SmackDown in the future.
We'll find out at some point on SmackDown.
Next up is the Shining Stars, which I think this tag team failed from the start, to be honest, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, it is what used to be the Los Matadores.
And they were very popular when they were the Los Matadores.
I wouldn't say very popular.
Especially when they had El Torito.
They had the support, but it wasn't sort of like the necessary support needed to warrant them being there.
Yeah, especially when they had the El Torito. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, but obviously El Torito went, Hornswoggle went, which means then, is there any point where we're having the Matadors here if we've got no balls?
So the Shining Stars, I mean, I don't know if they need a new gimmick or something, but I mean, it's just the crowd don't get behind them. Die-hard wrestling fans don't get behind them. For some reason, they just don't have that grab. They don't have that pull, do they? They don't have. No. Next up is a tag team that I like the gimmick of them. I just think that they need to be given a push somewhat, and that's the Vaudevillains.
Oh yeah.
I like the gimmick. I like the whole gimmick. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's not something you see often at all in any wrestling promotion, that gimmick, but I do like it. It's just, I think they do need to work on. I think they need to work more on the whole wrestling thing more than the gimmick, because they've got the gimmick nailed down.
Yeah.
But I would like to see them with the belt once, you know. Next up is Alicia Fox, who's now on to Raw. By the way, the Vaudevillains were on to SmackDown, but Alicia Fox is on Raw. So, yeah, Alicia Fox is a very good wrestler. She's quite mobile.
Yeah.
And I could see her being a future women's champion, to be honest.
At some point, possibly.
Not now, because I mean I know he's focused so heavily on the Charlotte, Sasha, and I'd say the 4 horsewomen thing, which is making me wonder why the hell they didn't bring up Bayley. But anyway, we'll get on to that. Next up is Eric Rowan for SmackDown, which that means 2 parts of the Wyatt family are on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Which is Eric Rowan and Bray Wyatt, whereas Braun Strowman is on Raw. But whilst talking about this, I know we've got 4 more wrestlers to talk about. 5 if you bring about another one, but we'll talk about another wrestler now, and that's Luke Harper, who's currently out on a injury for, I think he's like, a few months now?
A few months now.
And I'm wondering which one he'll go to. Because he hasn't even been mentioned at all.
Nope.
They haven't released him, have they?
I don't think so, but to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if he does.
Because he out of all the Wyatt family, I'd say Bray's the most talented one there. Then Luke Harper. Like Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt are the most talented ones there out of the Wyatt family. And Luke Harper could easily get like a United States run or an Intercontinental run. It's just that it's funny how they didn't even mention him at all. Like they say, oh yeah, he's injured, but when he comes back, he'll be on Raw or be on SmackDown. Unless they are working to like repackage him in some way.
Yeah.
Next up is Dana Brooke, which she'll be going on to Raw. Which I know that she's still relatively like new onto the main roster scene, so to speak, but she's working with Charlotte, and Charlotte's like a mentor, so to say. So I thought she would have been higher up on the list.
Yeah.
Now next one, I don't even know who this guy is until like they announced on SmackDown that he was going to SmackDown, and that's Mojo Rawley. I've never even heard of the guy.
I've seen him a few times on NXT.
I've looked at some of the matches now, but like of the NXTs that I've watched, I've not seen him once. And
I think it's kind of good that they brought him up there because he wasn't really getting the space on NXT. Now it's kind of bad saying that someone should be brought up just because there isn't really space on NXT for him. Because if he stayed on NXT, he'd just get caught in that mid card and eventually, as you say, you've not heard of him.
Didn't that happen with Bull Dempsey?
Yeah, that's what happened with Bull Dempsey. And look what happened to Bull Dempsey. Bull Dempsey left. Solomon Crow, stuck in the middle, wasn't getting anywhere, left. It's even if he gets stuck as a mid-carder on the main roster, at least he's going to have the space to be seen with it being a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
Because I think Mojo Rawley was mainly one of those that they used at live events, like NXT live events sort of thing, not like the main televised promotion as well. Because like I can remember when I went to go see him, like Ty Dillinger, we hadn't seen him on TV for ages. Then suddenly he was coming out with this Perfect 10, which he's still going along with now, and I think it's a really good gimmick.
Yeah, and there's another guy I thought would have been called up.
Yeah, Ty Dillinger, but I think he's doing something at the minute on NXT, which is why they haven't brought him up.
Ah, right.
I think he's feuding with Bobby Roode, I think. He's either feuding with Roode or Aries, it's one or the other.
Next up for Raw is Curtis Axel. So that's 2 members of the Social Outcasts on Raw. So everybody's thinking, oh great, that's the Social Outcast. Like, so Heath Slater's going to come on to Raw, and there we go. Social Outcast, they've been drafted separately, but they're together. But SmackDown,
I think
the last pick of the night was Carmella for SmackDown.
Who is the hottest diva from NXT, and you can't teach that, as Enzo Amore would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's pretty good. I mean, obviously not as
prominent as some of the others.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that main like the main roster placement will be the thing that she probably need to get.
Yeah.
To bolster her up there.
Yeah. On a side note, can we go back to Curtis Axel for a second?
Go on.
Right. I think for Curtis Axel to do well, because he's sort of got stuck in that jobber phase.
Yeah.
Right. They should bring him back with some kind of like Mr. Perfect style.
Yes.
Gimmick.
Yeah.
Considering he is Kurt Hennings' son.
Yeah, yeah.
What's wrong with them giving him not the exact same Mr. Perfect sort of thing, but a similar, like, sort of like, call it the son of Mr. Perfect gimmick? It's like, because they certainly gave Charlotte the whole nature girl boy gimmick that Ric Flair had.
Yeah, yeah.
He was the nature boy, she's the nature girl.
Now, Carmella was the last pick
Yes.
of the roster. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, we got Luke Harper, who wasn't mentioned at all. And
I think he's either still injured beyond the point of being able to come back anytime soon. Because obviously they mentioned Neville, who hasn't come back yet, but will be back soon.
Yeah, he's back like in the next 2 weeks or so.
Yeah. Randy Orton, who's not back yet, but is coming back. So I think either Luke Harper's either going to get released, or he's still injured to the point of not being able to come back.
Yeah, and the same goes for Emma as well.
Yeah.
But one thing, I don't know if they've deliberately left him out. I don't know, but Heath Slater didn't get drafted at all.
Yeah.
Which, why? I mean, yes, he is. I know he's a jobber, but I mean, at the end of the day, he still works for that company. He's still a wrestler. And after the Social Outcast, he is my favourite one.
Yeah, I love Heath Slater. Heath Slater was I think, was it Heath Slater? Yeah, I think Heath Slater was the very first WrestleMania card I got on WWE Supercards.
But like Heath Slater's like, why didn't he get drafted at all? He didn't. I mean, like, out of all the wrestlers that got drafted and that are working there, he was the only one that didn't. And I don't know if that's an angle that they're gonna pick with him. I don't know. But we do know that since then he has been drafted to SmackDown.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a mess up on WWE's half. That, oh crap, we forgot one.
Yeah.
Or it was deliberate because they're going to do a storyline with it. I mean, who knows? But I did find it weird that two parts of the Social Outcasts got drafted to Raw, and you thought, oh, he's going to get drafted to either Raw or SmackDown. Didn't get drafted, and it was just like, hey, Heath Slater's not being drafted. What's this? But we found out now that Heath Slater is now on SmackDown. Mm-hmm. But will that be with like a vengeance thing? Will he be like going on SmackDown and hopefully getting that push? Because Heath Slater's been with that company now for quite some time, and he's not been given a push at all.
Yeah.
Has he even held a belt? I can't remember. Has he even held a belt? I don't think he has he?
I don't know.
He's popular with the fans.
Yeah. On a side note, draft, like unrelated to the draft, I just thought we'd mention this because it's still wrestling related. Have you seen the New Day Funko Pop vinyl figures?
Have you seen that they are now releasing Bootio cereal?
Bootio cereals as well.
Yeah, and I don't know about the British price because I mean we're in the UK, but in America it's like $12 a box, which is like what the.
I know, it's mental.
Like what? I mean, I don't.
It's just a gimmick. It's getting money off people.
Yeah, I mean, I will be a sucker for that. I'm probably end up getting.
Yeah, I will probably when I go back to uni buy myself a box of, even if it's just one box.
Yeah.
Just so I can have the empty Bootio's box sat on my desk for weeks and weeks and weeks. And when people are like, aren't you throwing that old cereal box out?
Well, I think if you buy any of the New Day stuff, it comes with a Bootio box anyway, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, that's just a box. I want the actual cereal. It's not a cereal box unless it has cereal in it. That was just a New Day box. So when they did the whole shit, the shit came in the box. So that was a shit box, not a cereal box. Where I could imagine like someone coming into my room going, "Are you gonna get rid of that like weeks old cereal box?" And then I'll be like, "No, you don't be sour. Clap your hands for your 2-time WWE Tag Team Champions."
And then your friend just walks out your room going, "Yep, you need a psychiatrist."
And then wait, and then start falling with a trombone.
Yeah. Like your friends will probably just like phone phone the doctor to try to take you away after screaming that at them.
Yeah.
Whilst clutching a month-old box of cereal.
Oh yeah, I've eaten the cereal at this point.
Oh no, they'll be thinking you've lost the plot, man.
I've still eaten the cereal.
But anyway, that was the draft. Overall, once as memorable as the other drafts that WWE's had.
Yeah. Still, my favourite one was 2004, between when Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman were doing it, and then Eric Bischoff ended up drafting Paul Heyman, even though Paul Heyman was the GM of SmackDown.
Oh god, I like Paul Heyman.
When creative was actually creative.
Yeah, and that was another thing. A lot of this, like, I mean, I don't know about you, but a lot of the picks that they had, I kind of like guessed them myself. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Raw we knew would get Seth Rollins, SmackDown would get Dean, SmackDown would get AJ Styles.
Even though I would have thought at first, maybe the other way around, like Steph would have gone, ha, 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 ha. Do you know what, Shane? I'm going to have the champion, Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, and, you know,
And then I was expecting then Shane to go, oh, but do you know what? You shouldn't have done that because we're going to take your golden boy, Seth Rollins.
See, that would have been unpredictable, but they didn't do it, did they?
No.
It's just like a lot of the stuff, a lot of how they did it, with the exception of a notable few, like Finn Balor.
Yeah.
And
it was obvious that Finn Balor was going to come up.
Yeah, but we just didn't know. We didn't know when and where he was going. No, but there were people like Neville and Finn Balor, the American Alpha,
Nia Jax,
you know,
Carmella,
Becky Lynch. I'd say because I didn't think she'd go in SmackDown. I thought she would have gone to Raw.
Yeah.
And Baron Corbin as well. Like, you know, people that you think, oh, like, well, because I thought that Raw would be for the veterans, like the proper, like old school wrestlers, with the exception of AJ, because I mean he's relatively new in the company.
Yeah.
And then have all the new guys on SmackDown, but it's like they've got a mixture of the two on both shows. So I mean, we'll wait and see because we haven't. There's no point saying, oh, we're not going to watch WWE now because the draft wasn't any good and all that. Because I mean, we haven't even had a Raw or SmackDown post-draft yet, so we don't know how it's going to work, and we can't just base our opinions on one show after the draft because it'll probably take, I'd say, at least a month after the draft for everything to like fit like nicely into place.
Yeah, and say we've got Battleground on Sunday. Well, Monday for us.
Which is the last.
Since we live in.
Which is the last dual pay-per-view until SummerSlam. Now,
after SummerSlam.
And then after SummerSlam, it's just single ones until like the big four.
Rumble, Mania,
Survivor Series, and Survivor Series.
There was, and I don't know how true this, but apparently there was a leak of what show was having pay-per-views.
Yeah.
And apparently, on this leak, I don't know how true it is, so if this has been falsified afterwards, I don't want to see comments going, oh, but that was false information. This is only going from the leaks we've seen at the time, so take it with a grain of salt.
Sugar.
Or maybe the whole pot in some people's cases. They're going to be bringing back a few of the old names for SmackDown pay-per-views.
Like
Backlash, No Mercy, Vengeance.
So, do you want Backlash like the one after WrestleMania?
Backlash was the one, as in, like, it was the Backlash of WrestleMania. Like, it was sort of like the rematch of WrestleMania in a way, like, minor title league-wise. That was like, sort of like what you'd say nowadays Night of Champions.
Yeah.
It's like, what I don't get though, is on that point with Night of Champions, is when they have non-title matches on Night of Champions, I'm like...
It's a Night of Champions, so why is it...
Fair enough if it was a number one contenders match for later on in the night.
Yeah.
But when it's an upfront singles match that has no influence on anything whatsoever.
Yeah.
or like matches in the sense of like, if such and such wins this match, then X and Y cannot be at ringside for such a person.
Yeah, yeah.
As long as it's got something to do with one of the matches of the night, do it. But if it's just, here's Big Show versus Kane because no one's seen them for months and they need to do something.
Yeah.
Here's a singles match for the, I don't know, the catering trolley title.
Well, overall, I thought the draft was alright. Wasn't anything special, but it was alright.
A good start with sort of a waning end.
Yeah.
And like I didn't even bother staying up for the Draft Center live stuff.
I did.
You did, but I at that point I one, I needed to be up the next day anyway, and two, after going by what I'd already seen, I was like, most of the big names have already gone.
Yeah.
I might as well just catch it up in the morning.
Yeah.
Now it might sound bad being a really big wrestling fan as I am, but when my own health comes before finding out which show Eva Marie had gone on to.
Yeah, because it was very, 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 very hot that night.
It was very hot.
And yeah. Anyway, that was a rather dull, ending.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's it for the WWE draft.
Just don't be sour. We'll be back on the next podcast.
Yeah, I said I'll do another video in the future. Well, not in the future, I say soon.
Yeah.
Talk about why I'm unable to do a video and that. But yeah. Thanks for watching. This has been the discussion / podcast for the WWE draft. Yeah, and thanks for watching and see you in the next video or podcast.
Goodbye.